Welcome back to the Backtalk Society, the only show where the mafia code of silence doesn't apply because we're women, and if there's one thing we're gonna do, it's talk. Loudly. On camera. With eyeliner so sharp, it could whack a guy. Today we're diving into the hidden history of women in the mob because behind every so-called godfather, there's usually a godmother, a mistress of mayhem, or a wife with a really good divorce attorney. This week's theme, bold women. Women who didn't play the mob game. They rewrote the rules, and they did it wearing heels. Maria Licciardi rose to the head of the Camorra's Licciardi clan when her brothers and husband were all jailed. And like countless women before her, once she took charge, she cleaned up their mess. She ultimately united 20 different Camorra clans into a consolidated power. This not only gave strength in numbers, but also a really big range in their portfolio. The United Front managed everything from drugs to smuggling to prostitution. We love a woman who knows how to diversify. Despite her massive power, she avoided prison. She ran things with logic and discretion, two skills her male predecessors apparently lacked. She was never convicted or even directly suspected. Maria has been described as charming and ruthless. She ran her empire like a CEO, a successful one. And though she was the HBIC of a group doing not so great things, she maintained public-facing generosity. She offered welfare-like support to her neighborhood amid government neglect. Maria ran the mafia like a Fortune 500 company. Only difference is she actually provided healthcare to her community. Honestly, I'd trust her to run Italy before half of the prime ministers they've had. From Italy to Colombia, meet Griselda Blanco, the cocaine godmother. In stark contrast to Maria's discreet, quiet power, Griselda rewrote the drug trafficking handbook with a brutality, creativity, and unapologetic violence that was truly revolutionary. In her formative years, Griselda bounced between petty crime and prostitution. She even married for criminal advantage, which is in line with my long-standing belief that every woman should marry the first time for money and the second time for love. Griselda ended up later divorcing and allegedly, ordering for the murders of her exes, earning her the nickname the Black Widow. By the 1970s, Griselda and her husband Alberto Bravo, which is a legendary mob name, ran one of the largest cocaine operations between Colombia and New York. Griselda was just as creative with her trafficking as she was with her murders, using undergarments that she designed with hidden compartments. She invented a drug mule bra. She was like Victoria's Secret, felon edition. At the height of her empire, Griselda was earning around $80 million per month. In the 80s. She basically woke up, brushed her teeth, and accidentally out-earned Oprah. I mean, if you adjust for inflation, she could have bought Twitter twice. And you know she would have actually made it functional. But I digress. The drug mule bra wasn't her only innovation either. Griselda's signature murder, it's so chic that she had a signature murder, I don't even have a signature scent, was a drive-by shooting by motorcycle. In true cinematic poetic justice, in 2012, Griselda Blanco was assassinated via, you guessed it, motorcycle drive-by. Forget DoorDash, this was Death Dash. And yes, the fries still arrived cold. And finally, it wouldn't be a discussion on matriarchs of the mob without talking about the endlessly chic Stephanie St. Clair. She wore fur while running a numbers racket, proving once and for all that crime does pay in mink. Stephanie settled in New York's Harlem in 1911, at a time when the neighborhood was bustling with Black culture, politics, and economic self-determination. She was well educated and carried herself with dignity, which made her a standout in Harlem's seedy underworld. By the 1920s, Harlem's underground economy was booming with numbers games, aka illegal lottery systems. Stephanie actually launched her own numbers operation with a $10,000 startup, and she built it into a multi-million-dollar empire. Think Shark Tank, but with sharper teeth. Unlike her male rivals, St. Clair reinvested into her community. She funded schools, donated to Black organizations, and hired only people local from Harlem. Her operation gave financial independence to Harlem's Black community at a time when banks and white-owned institutions wouldn't. She turned gambling into a social service. People played her numbers to dream big, and she used those profits to reinvest in her community. It's basically the world's first GoFundMe, but with better odds. And she didn't stop there. Stephanie also testified against corrupt police officers during the 1930s police reform investigations, further cementing her status as a fearless whistleblower. Later in life, she wrote columns in Black newspapers urging Harlem residents to know their rights and resist police abuse. Stephanie used her power and influence not just for herself, but for her community. She stood up to both the mob and the NYPD, two of the most dangerous institutions at the time. These women weren't side characters. They were bosses, innovators, and sometimes the reason dynasties crumbled. Because when women hold power, even criminal power, they don't just play the game. They break it, rewrite it, and sometimes burn it all down. This has been the Back Talk Society. We'll see you again next week. Until then, keep your eyeliner sharp, your receipts sharper, and your enemies wondering if you're about to testify.